My name is Chloe, and I'm 27 years old. I live in San Diego, California, and I work as a graphic designer. My life hasn't been easy since my dad remarried. My stepmom, Diane, and her daughter, Tiffany, act like they own everything, including my dad. Ever since Diane moved in, she's made it clear that I don't belong. Honestly, I was okay with that until last week. It all started on a quiet Tuesday evening. I was sitting at my desk, going through my credit card statement. I try to be careful with my spending, so when I saw charges for things I didn't buy, I panicked. There were payments for a fancy catering service, designer dresses, and even a luxury event hall booking. My heart started racing. At first, I thought my card had been hacked. But as I looked closer, I realized the dates of the charges matched the times Diane and Tiffany had been talking about Tiffany's engagement party. It hit me like a ton of bricks. My dad was using my credit card to pay for it. I didn't want to believe it. How could he do this to me? I had always been careful with my money, saving for my dream trip to Hawaii. And now it seemed like my savings were being drained to fund a party I wasn't even invited to. The next morning, I decided to confront my dad. I walked into the living room where he was drinking his coffee. "Dad, can I talk to you for a minute?" I asked, trying to keep my voice calm. He looked up, surprised. "What's wrong, Chloe?" "I found some charges on my credit card that I didn't make," I said, holding up my statement. "It looks like they're for Tiffany's engagement party. Do you know anything about this?" His face turned red. He shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "Chloe, it's not a big deal. I'll pay you back eventually. It's just, we needed the money, and you weren't using it." "Not using it?" I repeated, my voice rising. "I was saving it for something important. You didn't even ask me." Before he could answer, Diane walked in. She looked at the papers in my hand and smirked. "Oh, Chloe, don't be so dramatic. It's just money. Family comes first, right?" I felt my blood boil. "Family? You didn't even invite me to the engagement party. You blocked my number." Diane crossed her arms and gave me a fake sweet smile. "Well, Tiffany didn't want any distractions at her party. You understand, don't you?" That was it. I couldn't take it anymore. "No, I don't understand. And you know what? If you think you can use me like this, you're wrong." I stormed out of the house, my mind racing. They thought I'd just roll over and let them take advantage of me. But they were wrong. I wasn't going to let this slide. Little did they know, I had a plan, and it was about to turn their perfect little party into a nightmare. After leaving the house, I went straight to my room, locked the door, and sat on my bed, head spinning, thinking about what to do. I felt hurt and betrayed, but I wasn't going to let Diane and Tiffany get away with this. They might think I'm a pushover, but they were about to find out I'm not. The first thing I did was call my bank. I explained the unauthorized charges and requested to cancel my credit card immediately. The customer service rep assured me that no more transactions would go through. A wave of relief washed over me. At least they wouldn't be able to charge another dime to my account. Next, I went online and checked all the vendors they had been paying. I found the catering service, the event hall, and even the florist. Without hesitating, I called each one to cancel the bookings. They were surprised but cooperative once I explained that the payments had been made without my permission. With everything canceled, I leaned back in my chair and smiled for the first time that day. I couldn't wait to see their reactions when they realized their precious party plans had fallen apart. But I wasn't done yet. The next morning, I decided to post something on social media. If they wanted to play dirty, I'd play smarter. I uploaded a photo of myself smiling with the caption, "Time to put myself first. Aloha, Hawaii hibiscus #living my best life." It wasn't entirely true. I hadn't booked the trip yet, but I wanted to send a clear message. Within minutes, my phone started buzzing with notifications. Friends and coworkers were commenting, but the best part was the call I got from my dad. I didn't pick up. Let them stew for a while. Later that day, I heard a knock on my door. It was my dad. "Chloe, we need to talk." I opened the door, arms crossed. "What is it, Dad?" He looked nervous. "Why did you cancel everything?" "Diane and Tiffany are upset. Do you know how embarrassing this is for us?" "Embarrassing for you?" I said, incredulous. "You stole from me." You used my money without asking and expected me to just let it happen. Why should I care if they're upset? It's not like that, he said, his tone defensive. We're family, Chloe. You're supposed to help. I shook my head.
No, Dad.
Family doesn't mean taking advantage of someone. Diane and Tiffany have never treated me like family, and now you're doing the same. Before he could respond, Diane appeared behind him. Oh, stop playing the victim, Chloe. You're being so selfish. I laughed bitterly. Selfish, Diane? You've excluded me from everything since you married Dad. You blocked my number, spent my money, and now you're calling me selfish? That's rich. Diane's face twisted with anger, but she didn't say anything. My dad sighed, looking defeated. Chloe, please. Can't we move past this? No, Dad, I said firmly. I'm done being your doormat. I've canceled the card. I'm not paying for anything else. And you can forget about me helping with this engagement. Oh, and by the way, I am going to Hawaii. Don't expect me back anytime soon. I shut the door in their faces, my heart pounding. I felt a mix of emotions, anger, sadness, and a strange sense of freedom. For the first time, I was standing up for myself, and it felt good. That evening, I booked my trip to Hawaii. I splurged on a beachside resort and activities I'd always dreamed of doing, snorkeling, a helicopter tour, and even a luau. I wasn't going to let them ruin my happiness anymore. As I packed my bags, I got a text from my dad. We need to fix this. Please call me. I deleted the message. They would have to deal with their mess without me. I was done playing their game. The day of my flight to Hawaii arrived quickly. As I boarded the plane, I felt a strange combination of excitement and relief. For the first time in years, I was putting myself first. I left San Diego without looking back, determined to enjoy every moment of my trip and leave all the drama behind. I landed in Hawaii. The warm breeze and smell of the ocean welcomed me like an old friend. I checked into my resort, a stunning place with a private beach and crystal clear water. As I settled into my room, I smiled, knowing Diane and Tiffany were likely scrambling to salvage their engagement party without my money. My stepmom and Tiffany tried to rebook everything for the engagement party, only to realize that most vendors required upfront payments, which they no longer had access to. Diane called my dad repeatedly, demanding he fix this, but there was nothing he could do. The embarrassment grew when guests started canceling, assuming the party had been called off entirely. To make matters worse, Diane and Tiffany's perfect reputation started to crumble. One of the vendors I had called to cancel posted about the incident online, mentioning a spoiled bride's canceled party due to unpaid bills. It didn't take long for the story to spread among Diane's social circle. People began whispering about how they had been using my money, and the gossip only got worse from there. While all this was happening, I was sipping cocktails by the beach, enjoying my much-deserved vacation. I decided not to check my phone for a while, letting the stress of my old life melt away with every wave. For the first time in a long time, I felt free. However, curiosity eventually got the better of me, and I turned my phone on to check my messages. As expected, there were dozens of missed calls and texts from my dad, Diane, and even Tiffany. Here's the one that caught my attention the most. Tiffany, you ruined everything. How could you be so heartless? We're family. I laughed out loud. Family? The same family that excluded me from their lives and stole my money? Their entitlement was almost comical. I decided to respond to just one message, my dad's. I told you I'm done being taken advantage of. Diane and Tiffany need to figure things out on their own. Don't contact me again unless it's to apologize. I hit send and put my phone away. It felt empowering to finally stand my ground. A few days later, I got an unexpected email from one of Diane's former friends. She had heard about everything and wanted to let me know something shocking. Diane had been pressuring my dad to sell the house to fund Tiffany's wedding and her own extravagant lifestyle. The house my mother had left us, the one I grew up in, was just another pawn in Diane's schemes. I felt a new wave of anger. It wasn't enough that they had stolen from me. They wanted to take the only thing I had left of my mom. But this time, I had the upper hand. I still had access to my late mother's lawyer, who had handled her estate. I decided it was time to protect what was rightfully mine. When I returned from Hawaii, I immediately met with the lawyer. Together, we reviewed the ownership of the house and made it clear that Diane had no legal claim to it. If she tried to force my dad to sell it, she'd face a legal battle she couldn't win. To drive the point home, I made sure Diane received a formal letter from the lawyer warning her to stay out of my family's financial matters. The look on her face when she read it was priceless. She tried to argue, of course, but it was no use. The law was on my side. The final blow came a week later when Tiffany's fiancé called off the engagement. He had learned about the financial mess and decided he didn't want to marry into such a dysfunctional family. Diane and Tiffany were devastated, and my dad was left to clean up the pieces. As for me, I moved out of the house and into a cozy apartment overlooking the ocean. I used the last of my savings to start my own freelance graphic design business, which quickly took off. Life finally felt like it was mine again. Looking back, I realized that cutting them off was the best decision I'd ever made. Diane and Tiffany thought they could walk all over me, but they underestimated my strength. I wasn't just their doormat. I was so much more. And now I was free to live the life I deserved.